Welcome into the college show on the Draft Nerds Network. I am your host, Garret Price, and I'm here with two good friends of mine, Andrew Mott. Andrew, how's it going, buddy?
Doing good, man. Burning the midnight oil right now on this draft class. Just got through two tight ends scouting right now. So I'm sitting here watching tight ends, and it's probably only going to get worse now because I got the two best ones out the way.
I understand that. And we've got Jagger May, who's made a little mad scientist activity for us today, which I'm pretty excited about. Jagger, how you doing?
Yeah, man, sicko mode. Like Garrett's like, we want to do more draft heavy stuff. I said, say less, fam. Like,
He said, you don't know what you just stepped in. So today, I have no idea how far we'll get. I want to preface the show with here's exactly what we're doing. I don't know, because originally the plan was AFC, and we're more or less going into each team and saying, if we were the GMs, if we were the front office, the three of us, Jared's not able to make it today, but if the three of us were in the front office, here's how we would run their offseason. Here's the draft picks we would make. Here's who we'd be considering in free agency. Here's how much cap space we have. Should we be looking at any trades, anything like that? But then we were like, if we were to do every team in the AFC this episode, it would be like a 3-hour-long episode. So we might be, I don't know how far we're going to get. We're starting in the AFC, and we'll see how far we get, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it. So
yeah, we'll try to stop at least not in the middle of a division, but we'll just go into retire.
We just stop in the middle of the Colt. This is what we'll do in free agency, but for the draft, figure it out next time.
When we get to the Browns and Steelers, I might want to stop, and the Bengals.
On the next episode of Draft Nerds.
All right. Well, draft season is in full swing now, and we're going to figure out who we're going to draft for these teams and what their offseason should look like. So let's go ahead and start with the Buffalo Bills. So the Buffalo Bills, new head coach now. Everything's kind of changing. I shouldn't say everything, but things are definitely changing there in Buffalo. And so it's going to be a really, really interesting offseason. Right now, as far as the draft picks go, they've got their first round pick at pick 26, their second round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick, fifth round pick. They do not have a sixth, but they have 2 seventh round picks as well. So they have plenty of draft selections overall. When we're looking at cap space for this team, Buffalo Bills, let me find them on the list. They are, of course, I say that, and now I can't find them. There we go. Right now projected to be $9 million in the negatives. So they're not in a great cap spot right now, but we know the cap is a myth. They're going to be able to rework some deals, convert things to bonuses, add void years at the end of contracts. They're going to make it work. So they're not in a horrible spot, but they definitely have some work to do to be in a good spot this offseason. So when we're looking at all of this, there's some team needs here. And Jagger, I'll have you kind of go over the team needs and how you would kind of start to attack things. And we'll pass it over to Andrew then to see what he would like to do as far as maybe looking at a wide receiver ? So Jagger, take it away.
Yeah, you named the number one need off the bat, wide receiver. They're a team that you look at these teams that they need everything and nothing, or they need everything. They're a team that doesn't need quarterback. They desperately need wide receiver, but everywhere else they have some playmakers, but yet it's still leaky enough where they need depth, where defensively, I don't think they have a good defensive identity. A lot of that is the reason why I think Sean McDermott is gone. So Andrew, for you, especially where they're drafting at, wide receiver is their top need. So it's just which one you think is going to be there, or are they going to make the trade up to be there?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. I mean, for us at home, it would be so awesome to see Josh Allen get the number one wide receiver, because it feels like we've been waiting for years since Stephon Diggs left to where, yeah, they went and got Keon Coleman. I know some people got excited. I wasn't excited about that draft pick. But if they could end up getting a guy like Lemon or Tate or Tyson, I don't know if it'll fall to them at 14. I do think those guys are top half of the round guys, but if they could get one of them to fall down to 14, Actually, you have
And
it
they have
listed at
pick
14 here.
26.
It's
Yeah,
26. Yeah. That's the one pick that was wrong. Sorry, guys.
It's all good. I'm like, wait a minute. As I said 14,
That
I'm like,
seems
they
early.
just played in the playoffs. What are we talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
pick
I don't
26.
expect that to fall down. But if they could get one of those guys somehow, maybe the NFL gets scared of Jordan Tyson's medicals, and then he falls down to 26. That would be awesome for him. But I also look at like free agency with them, and they don't have to address it in the draft. They could go out and get a free agent. There's still some guys in free agency this year. Do they want to go get a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson? Do they want a guy like Alec Pierce? Do they want a guy like Romeo Dobbs to come in? They're not sexy picks or additions for the most part, but I do think that they would be quality additions for Josh Allen and the Bills.
Do you think there's any chance if I think a lot of us are assuming Dallas is going to figure out a way to get George Pickens back? If not, though, I think that would be the dream scenario for Buffalo, to be able to get a guy like George Pickens that's a go up and get the football kind of guy. Like that just fits Josh Allen to a T.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I think George Pickens, though, is probably going to command the most money out of every wide receiver in free
100%.
agency this offseason. So they're gonna have to figure out a way to get some of that money. Like you said, the cap can be manipulated a little bit. We saw New Orleans do it for 10 years straight.
Ever.
But
Yeah,
I feel like they're going to need to get a lot of money because Pickens is going to get a payday.
Yeah, that's I have a hard time thinking that they're going to get what they need at that high of level. Because when you say like Romeo Dobbs, Alec Pierce, man, that's them doing the same thing all over again. That was them getting Josh Palmer. Because last year we're like, Josh Palmer, he could get you 600 yards. That's just not what they need and what they didn't replace once they lost Diggs. And that's why Denzel Boston, I don't love as much as everyone else does. Grades well. I'm not gonna lie, your boy Chris Bell, man. I watched some Louisville tape on accident, and he was popping all over the tape. But some of these other guys like Chris Brazzell, who are coming in the top 100, or why I'm so high on Jacoby Lane. Would you like Jacoby Lane a lot better if maybe the Bills trade back? They don't want to spend that high of the pick. They trade back, pick up more value in the second round, take someone like Brazzell, Jacoby Lane. They could even double dip. And when you bring in someone with size like that, that's not Keon Coleman, can actually move, run a route tree, and then you might bring in Alec Pierce in. That's a whole different game, because you got to remember they already kind of have the slot taken care of there with what's poor man Zay Flowers, Khalil Shakir over there. So you build out the rest of your basketball team with size, and then Alec Pierce as a deep threat. I think you're cooking with grease.
The thing I'm keeping an eye on is they were at their best when Stephon Diggs was there. I mean, that's when that offense was really, really looking good. I'm keeping my eye on a trade. I actually think that is the best move that they could make. I'm looking at guys like, hey, I'm going to Jacksonville and saying, is Brian Thomas Jr. available? I'm going to Cincinnati saying, is T. Higgins available?
Yeah, that's going to be mine.
I'm going to Indianapolis saying, is Michael Pittman Jr. available? Like, I'm going to some of these teams that there might be cap casualties, or the contracts are just weird, or just the fits are weird. Like, those are the three players that come to mind for me. I'm sure that there's others that could potentially be available via a trade. But like, those are the teams that I'm keeping an eye on right now, saying, hey, is this guy gonna be an option? Because we would trade, our first round pick or our second round pick, or to the level of whatever the player is. We'll trade our pick for that type of guy. I think that would be the best case scenario for the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion.
BTJ to the Bills would make me cry tears of joy. But I think if we could also see, I mean, what do you guys think about the idea of Tampa, who's added all these wide receivers over the last couple of years? Mike Evans is a free agent. Do they want to pay him?
Yeah.
Could Mike Evans be a Buffalo Bill?
That's a temporary problem to a long-term solution. It's a damn good. It's a short-term problem for a long-term solution.
I got you.
You get what I mean. But like, it's a damn good one. It's my point. Maybe. I
He's a free agent.
he's a free agent. I don't love that move, man. If I'm Joe Brady, if I bring in Mike Evans, I'm still double dipping in the draft and hopefully finding a guy who could step up. If you're going to make a trade though, and you get T Higgins, boom, you've solved your problem. Him, Khalil Shakir, whatever tight end shows up, whether it's Dawson Knox, Kincaid, who's it? Tanner Hudson or something. One of those
Jackson
guys.
Hawes, I think it is.
Jackson Hawes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Jackson Hawes. Whatever. They've built a tight end in the algorithm. I think that would be good. But if you go the Mike Evans route, that makes it where you can't play best available in the draft, and you need to at least double dip somewhere else, I think. So
Omar Cooper could be pretty cool here too.
I like Omar Cooper a lot, man. Like, so
I
two
like
guys
him.
that you've put.
But the problem is like the Shakirs and the things like they already have so many slot guys on this team. And honestly, Keon Coleman should have always been a power slot. That was where he would be best. So I think that's the problem is like,
you need an outside guy.
Yeah.
That's why I say if you get Alec Pierce, I like him a lot. He still can't be your one. Very good.
He's
too.
a Z.
Z. Very good. Yeah. Very good too. Get someone like Jeremy. That's why I almost want to say Jeremy Bernard, but I'm like, Jeremy Bernard is someone I would love if he paired with who needs a wide receiver. Let's say if the Chargers, because I still think that Trey Harris sucks too, and Quentin Johnston. I think Jeremy Bernard is a better Quentin Johnston and Trey Harris than they are, and that would be perfect for Ladd McConkey. I don't like him to come in and be the guy for Josh Allen.
Yeah. All right. We good on the Bills? Do we want to move on to the? All right. So that's what we would do for the Bills. We're focusing mainly on getting that pass catcher for Josh Allen. So let's go to the Miami Dolphins now. Miami, there's a lot of things that they need. Jagger, you listed everything. They need to fix. Yes. So draft picks wise, we are looking at, they have the 11th overall pick, the 43rd overall pick. That's the 11th pick in the second round. Same thing in the third round. Then they have 2 additional third round picks, which could be some good trade leverage to move up in the draft if they have a specific guy that they like. They have a 4th rounder, their 5th rounder, and their 7th round pick. When we're looking at the salary cap for the Miami Dolphins, they are currently in a not great spot. They're 22 million in the hole. So they're not in an amazing spot right now, salary cap wise. So that's going to limit what they're going to be able to do in free agency. Although this doesn't seem like a team that's going to prioritize free agency, they need to build through the draft. So I think that's going to be our main focus here. So Jagger, with this team here, where do you start at pick 11?
It's best available, and I'm going to be honest, I am putting that pick on the block just because you're going to have a defensive coach now. Your biggest impact players, Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, maybe they're all going to be gone. And then you've got questions at defensive end. If you're going to be asking questions, which is fine, this is a very deep edge class, why don't you trade back and get multiple picks? Because you got offensive line problems too, particularly in the interior. So even if you would get someone like Francis Mauigoa, that would be good there. Or if you pick up something like Caden Proctor, that's just athletic, and then you just get you're playing best available. Cause like, I like the secondary a lot. You don't have good cornerbacks. Go start picking them up, and they have a defensive minded head coach. So that's the direction I'm going. Pick 11th on the block for someone who wants to get their guy. Actually, pick 11th on the block for someone who wants a receiver like Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate, because I don't think the Dolphins are in a luxury to draft a wide receiver. I'm going to overpay someone a year 1 or 2 contract in free agency to get me through, but I'm trying to get foundational pieces in the boring spots like offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, secondary.
Short-term patchworking just to get guys to develop from the draft over the next couple of years is basically what you're talking about. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad idea. And I agree with you. Like, if you listen to what their new coach and their new GM have said both of these guys coming from the Packers. In their early press conferences, they talked about how their whole division runs through cold weather. They have to go play in Buffalo. They have to go play in New England. They have to go play in New York. These are cold weather games. And Miami, over the last couple of years, has been notoriously bad in these cold weather games. And so they've talked about wanting to get those players that are tough, build from the inside out at that defensive and the offensive line, and really try and get these big guys that can go play in cold weather games and not get fazed by that. So I think the Miami Dolphins that we've known and kind of enjoyed over the last couple of years, for the most part, for the fun, fast, athletic, explosive type of players, I think they're going to move away to a brand new identity that is not that here in
Trenches,
2026.
baby.
Yep.
You nailed it. Like they need a boring draft. They need that Bill Belichick draft that actually hits, where they're like, oh, another trade. Miami's trading back. And then they like, oh, a defensive player. Ooh, an offensive lineman. Like, I
Trade
don't
back
need
and grab Peter Woods. Like
that's that's who I've circled as Peter Woods. Get a good interior defensive lineman to anchor and build out that way. The Jets almost built their team that way, and then they had to change coaches again.
So, Andrew, for you here, I think the elephant in the room with the Miami Dolphins is, what are we doing at quarterback? Because Tua got benched, but that was, a different regime and, whatever. So Tua is still under contract, and his dead cap this year is $99 million. So he is not getting outright cut. Now, there's a chance that he could get traded, but they would have to do a lot of fancy financial work to make a deal like that work. It might have to be the type of move that the Browns did back in the day, where they got a second round pick for taking on a nasty contract. Like it would have to be something like that. So realistically, Tua is still on this roster. Now, after this year, they could get rid of him for $34 million dead cap. That's much more palatable for this team. So do you think he's the starter this year and he's just more of the sacrificial lamb? Do they draft somebody in the second, third, fourth round with some upside? What are they doing at quarterback, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, the Tua conversation is a tough one because, to be honest, and I may be in the minority of this group here, but I feel like Tua is the best option for them from a talent standpoint. I don't think he's going to be the most likely option for them, because I do see a scenario where they could go in and, GM and coach from Green Bay, do they want to go call Malik Willis, who had a good year last year, and say, do you want to come compete for the starting job? We'll give you a short contract. You can get a shot at the starting job, compete with Tua and do that. They also have Quinn Ewers, who drafted by the last regime. I don't think he's a guy that they can really throw in and be the starter for the full year, but are they willing to do it just to get the draft pick better in 2027 and say, you know what, Quinn, we didn't get to see a lot from you last year. Let's just throw it out there and see what happens. Like, there's plenty of ways that they could go about this. I have to say that I don't think Tua is going to be on the roster. And I know you said they eat a lot of cap. I'm interested to see. I don't have the numbers in front of me. What is the June 1st cap? Because I know sometimes after June 1st, you can get a little bit of leniency.
I think you split it. So if that was the case, June after this year, like, are you talking in 26 or in 25, or like after the 26 season or before the 26 season?
Before the 26 season. Like, could they just?
So then it would be like 45 million, 44 million that they would have.
Could you eat 40 million to trade Tua away and just be done?
Maybe, but then they're also putting 44 mil on their team next year too, because you still got to do the 99, but it's just split over 2 years instead of one. It's possible.
If Willis is coming in and signing a team-friendly deal, or maybe you plan on drafting a quarterback in 2027 and you're not going to be paying the quarterback anything more than a rookie contract, do you just look at it as, you know what, it's kind of like we're paying a quarterback right now anyways, who cares? Like, because the other guy's cheap.
They might. If it were me, I think I would know that this year is probably a U year. Like, this is going to suck and we're not going to be that good. I'm, unfortunately for Tua, because it's been tough on him already. He would probably be my sacrificial lamb this year, and you're just going to have to deal with it and go out and start. But then I'm seriously considering looking at my third round pick. And I'm looking at, or maybe even possibly trading back in the second or trading up into the second, because I have multiple thirds. I'm looking at the Nussmeyers of the world. I'm looking at the Carson Becks of the world, the guys like that, where it's like, maybe there's something with this guy and we'll give it a shot, but it's going to be hey, we got lucky and we got Kirk Cousins. Hey, we got lucky and we got Jalen Hurts. Hey, we got lucky and it worked out, versus spending a premium pick, because I don't see them, unless at 43 Ty Simpson falls to them, which is possible. I have a terrible gauge right now on where Ty Simpson's going to go. Like some days I think he's going to be like mid-second. Other days I think he's going at like 15. Like I
feel
just
pretty
have a hard
confident.
gauge.
I feel pretty confident that he's going to go within the top 50.
Okay.
He may go the Jalen Hurts round, and the reason why, I keep bringing it up, it's the injury context that's getting floating around now, and then you can just see it on the tape, man. He is not the same quarterback after he starts getting tore up and dealing with injuries, and it's Andrew. You and I talked about this at some point where these teams are so QB needy that it's going to push up a lot of these guys, and on the flip side, I think running back's not going to be fun, man. It's not going to, if you have a little special boy that you love from the Senior Bowl, it's looking real 4th or 5th roundish, I think, probably.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Any other thoughts on this team from either one of you guys?
Good luck. It's unfortunate.
I just know I have a friend who is a Dolphins fan, and he has filed his paperwork to remove himself from fandom of Miami.
As a Browns fan, you can't give up that easy, homie. Come on. There's way more misery that you can endure.
He's lived in Seattle for 2 years, and he said, "No shame, I'm a Seahawks fan now. I'm just going to the Seahawks." I said, "Come on, buddy."
When they go to the Super Bowl, that's lame.
You can't do that.
You would think if they were an upstart.
He said he gets a pass because he's lived there for a couple years, and I'm like, I don't know if it works like that.
It is better than if he lived in Tennessee
and was like, I'm a Chiefs fan when they win the bowl.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, let's move on to the Super Bowl bound New England Patriots, 14-3 season, heading to the ship. And Jagger, I know you're excited about this as a fan of their team, and they have a lot of draft capital. They've got their first, second, third. They've got 2 4th-round picks because they have Chicago's as well. They have a 5th-round pick, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 6th-round picks and a 7th-round pick. So plenty of draft capital to move, up a little bit here and there, to throw a fancy 6th in there or whatever. So they could definitely do that. You're also looking at decent cap space for them. Right now, they're projected to be, every time I say this and then I lose it, $34 million to the good. So they have $34 million available to them as of today. Obviously, that always opens up, and there's more available once they do their fancy financial footwork. And they're in a pretty good spot. This is another team, though, where wide receiver is a big need for this team. They got a little better this year, but they still don't have a true number 1 wide receiver on this team. There's other positions that we can address as well. But Andrew, we'll go back to you on this one. Is this a team that you see using that 1st-round pick at 31 or 32 on a wide receiver? Trade, free agency? What are you thinking as far as how this is going to go for New England?
Yeah, this is another team kind of like Buffalo. I mean, honestly, even in a little bit of a worse draft situation than Buffalo because they've done better in the playoffs. But it feels like it's going to be a team, again, where they can draft wide receiver, but we're going to be past the guys that I really love at the wide receiver department. And we're going to be kind of making selections of guys that just don't have as clean or as clear of profiles to be true number 1s for Drake May. So I think this is going to be a weird situation for them. Could they be a team that dips in on Boston? Could they be a team that goes and grabs Concepcion? Like, that could be something for them, but I don't know if I really value those guys as true number 1 wide receivers at the NFL level.
And on the flip side, can't forget that the Patriots offense is slow to develop receivers, Kyle Williams is still there. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Because of how well we've played, Kayshon Boutte has came along well, that if we got Romeo Doubs and like just one offensive tackle, like someone who I think's underrated in this draft, I like Blake Miller a lot. Like Josh Simmons is someone who I liked, and he went too low in my opinion, even though he went to the Chiefs or whatever. I feel the same thing about Blake Miller. If I'm the Patriots at 31, 32, probably 31, I'm just taking the pulling the trigger, getting an offensive tackle, feeling really good that I got 2 bookends, because you're right, man. I was talking to my brother-in-law, and the Patriots, one reason, and I'm a fan, I'm a Pats fan, known Pats fan. While we can't win, you look at the teams that have won Super Bowls, then the amount of impact players they have are low. It's literally like our best ones are Christian Gonzalez, Drake May, Will Campbell. So getting best available is crucial, and I'm okay with a boring draft. If we don't get our wide receiver, if we get Romeo Doubs, because we're still going to be that more competitive, and their offense doesn't really function to have a guy be the guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and with some money available in free agency, you mentioned Dobbs as a potential option. I think they're one of those teams that could sneakily be open to getting a tight end. We'll see. I mean, Hooper's been fine as kind of the 2. Hunter Henry's obviously their top guy. Neither one at this point are overly athletic. They're not guys that are going to be able to make big plays, stretch the field, things like that. Could they sneakily be in on a Kyle Pitts? Would they be interested in a David Njoku? Would they, something like that route I could see as a possibility for them as well. But, you mentioned this guy earlier. I could see the Patriots easily going like Caden Proctor in the draft and taking him there. Alabama boy. We know the Alabama kids seem to have a similar temperament as New England Patriots guys, just from the old school head coaching styles. Obviously, both Saban and Belichick are gone, but a lot of that personality is still there and represented in both franchises. So we'll see how things go there. But really interesting team. Do we see them, Mike Vrabel's the head coach, defensive guy. Do we see them just saying, hey, we don't love where we're at as far as like the players that are available to us. We're just going to beef up that defense even more and just keep playing ugly football and say, hey, Drake May, win the game. Like, just figure it out, dude.
To be honest, our defense wasn't that great. It's gotten better through coaching. So like getting a defensive player, it sounds like we don't need it. We do actually. It's just thin. One reason we got Milton back on the defensive line. So it's another team where, yeah, they made the Super Bowl, but they need everything but quarterback essentially and left tackle. That's it.
Sure.
So,
and running back.
Yeah, that's true. I do not want another running back to mess these stuff up. I don't need a third.
Fantasy speaking or non, just leave it alone. All right.
We don't need a 3-headed committee in the NFL. That would be ridiculous.
I mean, Antonio Gibson was there for a second, making it ugly.
Terrell Jennings interest you at all or no?
No, now we're getting gross. Let's get out of here before I puke.
All right. Anything else on the New England Patriots that we're looking to do?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to the New York Jets. And Jagger, once again, put everything. And I think this one really is accurate. With all of the trades that they've made, with all of the things that happened or we're expecting to happen in free agency, I don't know that there is an impact player left on this team at this point. You could go almost any route and be like, yeah, that makes sense for this team. Right now, they have the number 2 overall pick. And then because of their trades that they made with Sauce Gardner, they have the 16th pick, which got a lot better over the course of the season. I think the Colts are definitely disappointed with how all of that worked because they were expecting that pick to be in the 20s. Now that pick is at 16. They also have the 2-1. Then they have the Dallas pick in the 2nd round. So 2 firsts and 2 seconds. They've got a 4th, they've got 2 5ths, they've got 2 6ths, and they've got 2 7ths. So they've got a lot of options available to them. So Jagger, if you're the GM, this is the most wide open situation you could possibly have. Well, maybe the Browns are pretty close, but one of the most wide open situations you could possibly have here. What do you do?
I'm emptying the clip on my offense. Your defense is bad too, man. But you hope that they could fill some of them holes with later in the draft, since they have so many picks, and this is a defensive heavy draft where I don't hate them. I know they don't have their quarterback, but get Garrett Wilson, someone else. Their wide receiver room is abysmal after him. Mekhi Lemon seems perfect compliment to come in here, along with Adonai Mitchell, Mekhi Lemon, Garrett Wilson. If you go and get someone like Kyler Murray, who's might be on the move, who might be available in a trade, that's something that you can work with. Same thing, you need an offensive line. So I'm okay with you taking a boring pick and getting an offensive tackle that you feel like can anchor for, because let's be honest, man. They're worse than the Dolphins. They're the worst team we've talked about for a reason, because I don't think they're going to get their quarterback there up top. Obviously the Raiders are going to get one, so if you trade back or whatever, if you go get your best defensive player better, that's fine. But what you're doing with the rest of these picks, it's best player available, and you're praying for the best, because you're picking in the same spot likely next year. Unless you swing for the fences, you get Kyler, the reclamation project happens, the sun shines on you, Jesus comes down and kisses you right on the forehead, you're going to be picking in the top 5 next year, probably.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, this team is actually, we talked about it with Miami. This is the team that needs to say, who wants the second pick in the draft? Because I'm willing to move out. I'm willing to go get draft picks. We've already seen them add a bunch of these future
play
firsts
for
and
next
things
year.
like that. Like play for next year. Yes, you're right. And you can end up going and getting, even if you want to make a trade at quarterback and roll out a Mac Jones or something, like go get something like that to where you can just have a decent player. I just don't believe that this is a team that really is in a position to do anything other than trade out. And Dante Moore going back to school is not what the Jets wanted to see, but it's probably the best thing that could have happened to them, because now they're not going to force a quarterback selection, and they're going to actually do something that's probably going to help their team better in the long run. I think right now you just prioritize the free agents. You got Vera Tucker, who's going to be a free agent. Go give him some money. You got guys other than that probably you're not paying too much. Breece Hall is going to be a very interesting one to watch. Do they decide that they want to tag him? Do they want to give him a contract? Can they make ends, work? Because I know at the trade deadline, it didn't seem like Breece was very happy to stay. We'll see what happens with that. But right now, pay Vera Tucker, trade out of your second overall pick, get as much draft capital as possible, and just add bodies to this roster, because you are depleted everywhere.
And I failed to mention it earlier, but they have $83 million available to them. And like we said, that can always grow with how they finagle all these contracts and things like that. So I do see them as a team that would potentially look at, okay, what quarterbacks could be available to me? We've already mentioned
I like a lot.
Mac Jones, that kind of trade. Can you trade a 3rd round pick and get Mac Jones? Maybe, maybe not. He's on a 1-year deal right now. So how much is he going to cost?
Cousins is going to get released.
Sounds like Cousins is going to get, he would be more of like a
that's sacrificial lamb. Yeah, that is you're telling the franchise, it's like, get ready for a fit. Like that is guaranteeing the top 5 pick, which you want. I think you want to do that.
Fills the need temporarily until you can draft your guy in 27 or 28.
I feel like Kurt is going to want to go somewhere that he feels like he could actually win. I feel like this could be a Jacoby Brissett type of bridge. Like if
what are people I guess he's the worst kind of bridge though, man, because you have hope for a sec. It's coming from a Pats fan where we thought like Jacoby Brissett, there's a reason why we got it's the reason why that Gerard Mayo ain't there anymore, man.
Yeah. No, I trust me. I hear you. As a Browns fan, I've seen him play too. He was with us for a minute. But it feels like that's the route that they could go. I think best case scenario is the Kyler Murray scenario, because right now I don't have enough confidence in Malik Willis to be a franchise guy that turns things around. He seems like a guy that would probably need a better situation to orchestrate those types of things. So it does feel like that would probably be the best case, unless they're in love with a Daniel Jones, which I don't see. And I think he's going to stick in Indy. So
Indy,
it really feels like Kyler Murray is the only legitimate option outside of maybe Mac Jones if they're willing to trade him. So we'll see. But it feels like those are really the only two routes that this team can go.
Can I interest you in convincing Russell Wilson to walk across the hallway?
Oh, man. I mean,
he and his wife get to stay in New York. I know they wanted to go to New York for her in the first place. You don't have to leave. You just can't be in Giants blue.
I mean, it's an option, I think. I still think that this is sad. Russell Wilson is probably one of the 35 best QBs in the NFL. And I say 35 because there's probably a backup who's like, no, I'm good. I'd rather be here than a Jet, So it's an option. And to me, you need a Garrett. You taught me this with the Browns this year, where you don't want in between, man. I need you to be bad, or I need you to win and look good, or at least lose and look good. Where the Patriots were losing close games the year before with Drake May, I'm like, at least it's not Drake May's fault we're losing. Does that make sense?
Right.
And you felt like you could build something around there. And then look where we're at this year. That's what you need for the Jets. And I don't know if they're going to have a QB that can do that in free agency, unless it's Kyler Murray.
Are they another team that could potentially look at Simpson, Beck, Nussmeier, Chambliss if he comes out? That whole situation's still weird. If it were me, I don't want any controversy for who I know the next quarterback's going to be. It's either I want to get a guy and I believe in him, or I'm drafting my quarterback next year.
Yeah, I want next year where I get to choose between whoever falls to me, or heaven forbid they're drafting one. Yeah, like Dante Moore, Raiola would be staying.
Arch Manning, Sellers.
Arch Manning, exactly. Sellers. There's so many guys that you feel better about this year than Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson needs to go to a team that's ready, can blow a 25 overall pick on someone, and then if he's bad, okay, you're a backup, or we're trading you, and then we could still get someone else in free agency maybe.
All right. What's the probability chance that Glenn just says, Tyrod, run it back?
He scares me, and that chance is too high, dude. It's actually too high. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the Jets that you guys feel like we need to cover?
Nope.
No, I think the only thing that I will mention, I forgot to mention it earlier, is you said Mekhi Lemon feels like a really good fit for this offense. If they do pull wide receiver at 16, I actually think Carnell Tate is an awesome fit opposite Garrett
Either
Wilson.
way, Garrett Wilson's so versatile that anybody else is going to be helpful. I just think for Mekhi Lemon's fit, because I think you and I talked about this, Andrew, where him being a high-end 1B is better than maybe coming in and being like the A right away. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong.
All right, well, let's move to, do we want to go to the North? We want to go to the AFC North next?
I think Baltimore will be quick. The rest is quick because they need everything.
All right, well, let's go to the AFC North. We've got the Baltimore Ravens here, and another team where we're starting over a little bit. We've got a brand new head coach here in Baltimore, brand new situation. We'll see how things go with Lamar. It obviously didn't end the way that they were kind of hoping things would end last year. So, or this past season, I should say. So for the Baltimore Ravens, they have their first round pick at 14. So kind of right in the middle there. Then we've got our second round pick, our third round pick, our fourth round pick, our fifth round pick. Then we've got like a bunch of fifth round picks. We've got 3 additional picks to our own in the fifth. We've got the Denver Broncos 6th round pick, and then 2 7th round picks. So plenty of draft ammo for a team that just had a really, really disappointing campaign this past year. When we look at the contract situation for the Baltimore Ravens, right now they are in, let's see, they're at 16th, so $23 million, so a decent amount available. wouldn't be surprised if they double that number once they do all of their financial homework. So they're going to have some room to be able to sign some guys, trade some guys. So right now, obviously, they have their quarterback. They went all in with Lamar, in fact, by letting go of John Harbaugh. So we know that is their guy. They've locked into him. They've got a lot of their skill position pieces seemingly locked away. They re-signed Mark Andrews. Zay Flowers was in fantasy football the number 12 wide receiver this year. Derrick Henry's still there. So they've got a lot of their skill position guys kind of locked away. So, Jagger, what direction does this team go now?
It's got to be cornerback, man. Their secondary has been getting chewed up for a while. Marlon Humphrey is old, and it shows. I remember the Rashee Rice breakout game 2 years ago where two things can be true. Rashee Rice played better. The Ravens, they had linebackers covering Rashee Rice in the slot. That's how abysmal it is. And they have good safeties, obviously. You know, when you got Kyle Hamilton and whatnot, they're fine. But covering the boundaries and then having more help is their top choice. And it's deep enough to where offensive tackle isn't as deep, that Lamar's had issues running around for a while, both in the interior of the offensive line. So this way, Derrick Henry sucked because the offensive line was pretty bad too. Like, they're one of the few teams that they have a very focused needs. It's offensive line and cornerback.
Well, and there's a chance Lindenbaum is gone as well. He's a free agent, and we'll see. And their offensive line coach is now in Cleveland, and Harbaugh's in New York. So,
yeah, I was going to say, with the cap space you mentioned, they have a good amount of that could be allocated right back to Linderbaum, and then call that a day there for some of their cap space. So he's somebody that they are going to have to prioritize.
You can't let him leave the building. You can't let him leave the building.
They have to prioritize him. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do too with, like you said, with Mark Andrews. He got paid by the old regime, and then kind of now they have Isaiah Likely, who's a free agent, Charlie Kolar, who's a free agent. Their tight end rooms are probably going to leave, and I would assume that Likely doesn't get the payday now that we've seen Andrews get it. And you said with Harbaugh going to New York, that could be a pretty interesting spot for a guy like Likely. Mm-hmm. Is this a team that maybe in the second round looks at an Eli Stowers? Could they bring in an Eli Stowers and kind of replace Isaiah Likely as the number 2 tight end there and the long-term number 1 behind Andrews?
I mean, and you could trade Mark Andrews, man. Like, you could trade him. I don't know what you would get for him. You know, tight ends are the hottest thing on the market, but would the Patriots trade a 3rd or 4th for Mark Andrews? Take on that? They have a lot of cap.
Might, but the contract's probably weird since they just re-signed him. It's probably a weird contract to try to trade now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that they probably, and I'm just guessing here, but my guess is they probably front loaded it, but that would mean that this year, at least, it would be hard to get out of, but next year, maybe you could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, Jagger, I'm with you. It feels like they need to have an ugly draft. They need to just get those big hog mollies, get some interior defensive linemen, some interior offensive linemen, get a DB, and you're in a good spot. So I would not be surprised if we don't see a skill position player drafted until they use one of those comp picks in the 5th round on a random receiver or, you know, something like that, because I think it's going to be very concentrated.
To disappoint everyone, like I said, I sent you guys a sheet. I was doing a deep dive on just like the class as a whole, because we tend to look at it just from a fantasy lens. Team need in draft strength is going to push down a lot of these, because I told you guys in the chat that I think that 2nd and 3rd round, that's when a lot of these receivers are going to go, because it's these receivers aren't good enough to be top 10 picks to where they're can't miss guys. It's not saying that they're bad or they won't eventually be can't miss players, but where they are as prospects and where a lot of these teams have needs, I wouldn't be shocked. So
are you saying that outside of the top 3 that we've talked about, because we feel fairly confident that all 3 of those guys are going to be first rounders?
Yeah, but like I'm saying, it's going to be 2013-ish too, to where maybe Carnell Tate falls to 15 or whatever guy falls to 15. So like, yeah, I'm saying yes and no to that.
Yes. In some of my prospect profiles, I've been using like teams in the 20s, and I know some people have been saying like it's too low. Like you have these receivers going too low, and I'm like, I don't know. I could see them going in the 20s. Like, so that's where we're at. What do you guys think of Delane potentially being a pick, corner out of LSU here?
that would be I loved him even before he transferred when at Virginia Tech. He's super rangy. He has length. Used to, I would say this is a Harbaugh guy, but I don't like with Jesse Minter. If you want someone who's versatile, where if you don't even like him on the outside, you could slide him back to free safety, and he has experience there to where I like him a lot. So that'd have been my top choice for Baltimore if it's not offensive line.
All right. Well, let's move over to Cincinnati. And
Oof.
Cincinnati, different than Baltimore, but not really. Very similar in the sense of they've got their quarterback squared away. They've got a lot of their skill position guys where they want them. It's, hey, we got to fix this O-line and we got to fix our defense. And so I think we're going to have a similar process here for these teams because I think both of these teams are not far away if they get those things at least marginally better. So Andrew, let's start with you on this one. Where are you going right now with the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, this was one where I'm just sitting and picking. Can I get a Sonny Styles? Can I get a Maui Goa? Can I grab somebody like that can be a difference maker on one of those lines or on the defensive side of the ball? Those are probably the places that I'm looking. Right now with Cincinnati, you have to account for a couple of the free agents that they currently have on their team. Trey Hendrickson's the big one.
He ain't coming back.
Not coming back, and he's a free agent, so you probably got to fill that need. You have Joseph Asai, who's also a free agent, Cam Taylor-Britt, Geno Stone. These are all defensive pieces for them that are all free agents right now. So they probably should go to the defensive side of the ball. If they can get a Sonny Styles, that would be great. I don't mind Delane too if you're taking Delane in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. This is a team that needs to soft rebuild and find its identity. Their identity is on offense. So invest in that, like draft defensively, but you need to turn T. Higgins into an offensive lineman or a defensive player, and you need to use that pick on the opposite.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that at all. Right now, they have $54 million in cap space. So they're one of the teams in the best spot right now to be able to go out and sign a big player or make a trade where they're eating some cap room a little bit. They've got a lot of really, really good options available to them. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go with all of this. And there's some okay players on the defensive side of the football. There's a couple offensive linemen that could potentially be available too, that they could go after. So we'll see kind of how all of this works out for them. You know, you're looking at maybe a Braden Smith in free agency from the Indianapolis Colts at tackle. So there's a lot of routes that they could go, but this does feel another team where I think they're going to, for the most part, unless it's like a quarterback or receiver, unless they trade T. Higgins, then receiver could easily be on the board. But it feels like, hey, we're going to take a lot of offensive linemen. We're going to take a lot of defensive players, and that's probably going to be it. The only other thing I could see them doing is it seemed like they kind of dipped their toe in the water of doing it last year with Taj Brooks. It wouldn't surprise me if they got more of a banger to go with Chase Brown, but we'll see. What's that?
I said, but where is it the thing?
It would probably be one of their fourth round picks or one of their 2 6th-round picks. But I think actually the most likely route is looking at the free agent class. You have guys like Isaiah Pacheco that's out there. You have guys like Brian Robinson that's out there. Sean Tucker that's out there. Guys that would be fine between the tackle guys to allow Chase Brown not to have to take so many hits going up the middle and allow him to do more of what he's best at is playing space.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Robinson feels like an awesome fit for a change of pace guy for them. And I think he gives you some flexibility long-term too, if you don't want to commit fully to paying a guy like Chase Brown right now. I know there's contract negotiations supposedly rumored at the moment, but we'll see. I think that's an awesome fit as well.
For sure. So we'll see what happens there. They've got a lot of options on potential routes they could go, but they've got to fix that defense and they got to protect Joe Burrow because, well, let's touch on this real quick. There's rumors, and right now they're only rumors, but there are rumors that Joe Burrow could be pulling an Andrew Luck at some point and just being like, you know what, I think I'm good. I think I'm done. There's also rumors that there could be a trade that ends up happening, or he moves on to another team. Percent chance right now, even 10% chance where something like that happens? Or do you feel really solid that Joe Burrow's in Cincinnati for at least the foreseeable future?
As long as Zach Taylor's there, the chances of him retiring or doing something wild are high, because like they're just never going to get better until he's gone. Ultimately, that's where they're at. Their big stopgap is they don't have their head coach. And once they get their head coach, we can actually start to think about the future in a more serious manner. So
I'm putting it at a 1% chance that Burrow is not a Cincinnati Bengal. But to me, it's just, if you make that decision, Cincinnati, go back to the days of nobody caring about your franchise again, because nobody will care about
what
you guys.
What do you
Joe
mean
Burrow's
with the
gone.
days? Yesterday?
Joe Burrow has fans. People care about Joe Burrow enough. They're even the reason that we're talking about the Bengals right now is because Joe Burrow's the quarterback. You just brought up.
That's fair.
That is why we're talking. And also, if you lose Joe Burrow, let's be honest too, there's going to be another domino that might fall there, and his name is Jamar Chase.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Let's move on to my poverty franchise, and that is the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, despite being terrible, we also have no cap room. So there's that.
Genius stuff.
We're bad and we can't get better.
It's like what was it in Space Jam where he was like, I might not be able to jump, but I'm slow.
I'm slow too.
Yeah, or something like that. That's what it feels like to be a Browns fan. So we're negative $18 million for the cap right now. A lot of that has to do with the Deshaun Watson contract. Look, it's funny because it's not. There's a real chance.
It's funny because it's not.
There's a real chance Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns next year. There's a very real chance. And when you look at Todd Monken and what he likes to do, he likes to have an athletic quarterback that can move around. Now that could be Shedeur Sanders as well. That's a very real possibility. But right now it's like a $90 million dead cap for Deshaun Watson. So he will be on the team this year.
Are you going to say
see how all that plays out? But woof.
You said, am I going to say the what?
The Kyler word?
No, I'm not going to say Kyler. I honestly, if I'm as one of me and you, Jagger, we're the only two Kyler Murray truthers in the world at the moment right now. So
I just don't want that for him is the reason why.
I also just feel like the best thing for Kyler Murray is to just figure it out with the new head coach in Arizona, whoever that is. Like, I think that's the best thing for him. But weren't the Ravens the other team that called about Shedeur Sanders on draft day and said, like, do you want to play? And he basically said, no, I don't want to be a backup. But Monken would have been part of that decision, no? So I think that gives Shedeur a decent in if maybe the coach that wanted him in Baltimore, or one of the coaches that might have thought about wanting him in Baltimore, is over there now. I think for me, though, it's tough to tell you what Cleveland should do. I mean, I've seen a lot of these mock drafts, Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, all of these guys are like drafting them, Carnell Tate and stuff in the first round, like early on in the draft. And does that, I know it's a need, but do you feel like, Garrett, that actually makes you that much better as a football team?
The hard part is every team needs two things. You need at least above average quarterback, and you need a competent head coach. As much as I was in misery at first over Todd Monken, because I wanted a young, hot, offensive coordinator type coach, the more I settle down and chill out a little bit, it's possible Monken could be solid. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's just my Browns goggles on. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm not gonna jump ship right away, but I'm not convinced that Shedeur's the guy. And the Deshaun Watson nightmare has been exactly that. So that's the hard part, is until they get that figured out, everything else will feel wrong. Everything else. If it were up to me, if it's Garrett, you have the 6th pick, the 24 pick, our second round, third round, we've got a 4th, 3 5ths, a 6th and a 7th. So there's plenty of draft capital here. If it's me, I'm trying to trade back. If I can't trade back, I'm taking one of these offensive tackles. That's the Browns right now. Almost their entire offensive line is gone or is a free agent and without much motivation to come back. So I'm using whatever cap space I can muster to say, hey, Linderbaum, your old OC and your offensive line coach are in Cleveland. Come here. Come be a part of our future. I'm using the 6th pick on an offensive tackle if I can't trade back. Preferably, I would love to trade back 6 or 7 spots, but I don't know what team is going to want to move up to 6. Like, what's the motivation there unless all the receivers are on the board and they really want one of those guys? That's the only way I could see somebody moving up at that point because there's going to be plenty of defensive players available. Then at 24, I'm probably taking another offensive lineman. Like, I've got to fix this offensive line. So if it's me, offensive line. Then in the second round at 39, that's where I'm probably looking for a wide receiver. And we'll see who's there and who's available and whatnot.
Maybe
but
Boston. You like Boston. Would you like that?
At 39, I'd be fine with him at 39. I wouldn't take him in the first.
Malachi Fields, he's having a good Senior Bowl right now.
I like him in the 3rd.
I like Malachi Fields at cost, over Denzel Boston. I'm talking about every sense of the word that even the Patriots need something new. I'm like, hey, what if Matt Collins had some receiving skills? That's Malachi Fields, baby. That's kind of what I want,
Yeah, no, Fields looks good. There's a lot. That's the thing. The 3rd round, I think, is actually going to be sneakily really good at wide receiver because I don't know that there's a huge gap between the guys that are going to go in the 2nd and the guys that are going to go in the 3rd. So whoever you get in the 3rd, you're probably going to be pretty happy with. So I would have no issue with that. But that's the thing for me is we've got to make whatever quarterback we are likely going to invest in the future, which is probably not currently on our roster, despite us having a Pro Bowler. I would say build up that offensive line, give the quarterback we draft in 2027 something to work with. Like, at least give him time in the pocket. And I think we've got to do offensive line to do that. So that if it were me and I was the only one making decisions, that's how I am rebuilding the Browns right now.
Yeah, you've been watching, man. You literally bird box yourself every year to watch that. You want to talk about it though, man. The AFC North is trying to become the poverty division because, we haven't even talked. Is this a good time to bring up the Steelers now? I guess.
Bring them up. Yeah, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably the last team we're going to cover today. So we'll probably try to get 2 divisions in on each of these. Pittsburgh right now, cap space wise, they're actually in a decent spot. $45 million available to them, so they have quite a bit available now. Part of that's going to determine what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. They obviously bring in Mike McCarthy in as their head coach. His 3rd stint in the NFL. All of the other ones have been Green Bay was better than Dallas, and Dallas was just we'll see. It feels like they just said it's the Scooby-Doo thing. Like they take off the Mike Tomlin mask and it's McCarthy. That's what it feels like, but we'll see.
Horrible. So the most they seem so unserious right now, man.
I don't think the Mike McCarthy hire is that bad.
You don't like it, or you like it?
I don't love it. I just think there's way worse. It's a safe hire. There's way worse hires you could have made.
But I think that's the problem.
That's the dangerous part. Thank you. It's it's too safe. You just know you're not going to win. I know that the Steelers are never going to be competitive for a Super Bowl.
Well, I think Mike McCarthy can do what Tomlin's been doing, and that's go 9-8 and make a wild card and lose in the wild card. I think that's what he can do.
And that's the thing. Do you really want to live in that window for another 3 or 4 years? I think that's the problem is at this point, it's like a good fantasy team. Rip off the Band-Aid. You don't have the pieces on the chessboard to make this a Super Bowl team.
Go suck for 2
Trade
years.
TJ
Go
Watt
suck for 2 years.
Yes.
Trade TJ Watt. Like trade, you got to rebuild, man. Like I don't. I'm even more negative than Garrett is. I don't think they make the playoffs with Mike McCarthy. That's where I'm at. I just think I don't. They're the most unwatchable team besides the Browns. It's nuts, man. Like I do not want anything to do with the Steelers in fantasy. I don't want them on my TV. Talking about them hurts because they are a storied team that I feel like needs to be good. Where even if they are a villain, they need to be a thing, and it's just hard to look at. And I don't know if Mike McCarthy and with that being said, the Steelers are probably going to go wide receiver at 21. Like if someone's still there, they're probably going to go wide receiver. They should go offensive line. I just don't think they're going to do that. What's the dumb decision that they should draft? Kick returner? Zachariah Branch? Did you think he creeps?
You never know. I mean, on draft day, the movie, that's who the Browns made the big trade for at the end. So,
and I'm sorry, Steelers fans. I know you guys are out there. I want your team to be good, man. I'm mad for you. This is me not hating on your team, but I want you guys to be good.
So I haven't talked about this yet. They have picked 21 in the first round. They have their second round pick, 3 third-round picks. So another opportunity to move around when you have that much capital on day 2. 2 fourth-round picks, a 5th-round pick, 2 sixth-round picks, 2 7th-round picks. So there's a lot of ammo that they have in this draft. There's plenty of moves that they could potentially make in order to improve this team. And so if you're here, Andrew, are you considering at 21 Ty Simpson?
You brought up the name I was already thinking.
Okay.
This is the territory for Ty Simpson. And I've already heard the rumors of Mike McCarthy wanting or petitioning for Aaron Rodgers to run it back one more time. So if he does decide to do that, could you bring in a Ty Simpson and put him behind Aaron Rodgers for 1 year and have that be your guy down the road?
I almost like that more. Like if Aaron Rodgers is back, I like the Ty Simpson pick more than if Rodgers isn't back.
Exactly. And I think it makes sense for them because it's clearly a need for them. And it's a need that they've had for a couple of seasons where it's like they keep doing, what Jagger seems to really dislike is go get the guy that can get you a decent season, but never get you the actual guy who can be your franchise. Like swinging on Ty Simpson would be one of those moments where you either find out if you can get the guy or you don't get the guy. And
it worked for the Giants. I think that's
exactly.
That's
so
smart.
I think that would be my pick. Ty Simpson at 21 would be the best selection for them if he's still available. Like you said, the range of outcomes on him is odd, but bring Aaron Rodgers back, let him play one more year, do the whole announce it before the season. This is Aaron Rodgers' last season. This is my retirement tour. Do the whole retirement tour in Pittsburgh, and then get Ty Simpson to be your guy the following year in 2027.
If he doesn't, this also feels like another potential Kirk Cousins spot as well, which I know that would be brutal for him to be in another situation where they're drafting his replacement. But
I don't even think he'd put himself in that situation again to do that.
Maybe.
It seems like that whole Michael Penix thing was such a bad thing. It seems to have caught him by surprise by so bad that he's got this sour taste in his mouth that he won't do it again.
The problem is at this age, you don't really have much of a choice, bud.
Well, he was killing it on CBS, so he might just flip over to TV and go do CBS if he's got to play with a rookie.
Dude, he might come back to your team, Mott.
Please no. I like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins was a very solid quarterback. Don't do that. Don't do that because the last thing that you even need to do for a J.J. McCarthy development is to bring in the old quarterback. It's like texting your ex while you're with your new girlfriend. No way.
and that's your ex saying, it's like, hey, I'm sleeping with your dad right now. It's almost as good.
Look, my new girl's here, but I kind of like what we had a little bit better. Maybe we could spin the block one more time. Don't do that. That's bad news for everybody.
Oh man, that would be bad news bears for sure. Anything else as far as possibilities for the Steelers? Like I said, they do have some money available. Do we see them spending in free agency on anybody or not really?
They're having some internal discussions about why did we mess up and pay DK Metcalf that money. But I think other than that, they could be a team too that like it sounds boring. Just go get something on one of the lines and call it a day too. Like I don't even think that this is a bad spot for them to spend some money there.
Yeah.
This is a Mike Evans team that I would,
Sure.
if you're gonna be asked, let's just lean into it, dog. Let's just, and I'm not, this no disrespect to Mike Evans, but
Aaron
like
Rodgers and Mike Evans in 2026, baby. Come on, man.
and DK Metcalf, like
Tyreek Hill signs and gets traded there.
If Tyreek Hill could physically walk and sign that paperwork, then we can just
bring back Najee. Bring back Najee.
There you
Harris.
go. Bring back Najee too. Oh, the AARP team. Would be fun. Even I could get behind that and root for it. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our AFC North and AFC East Ethereum, or AFC Ethereum. No, AFC East breakdowns of what we're going to do with each team. Stay tuned, because we've got 6 more divisions that we've still got to cover, and kind of fixing all of these franchises. So any last words, Andrew and Jagger, any last words from you guys on this?
No, man, this was a fun one. This
was.
Pretend GM for real. So.
RIP the AFC North, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, we were fun. We had fun being bullies for a while. It's time to lick our wounds and
we were cool in high school.
Yeah, you peaked in high school.
Back in my day.
Oh man.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you're locked into everything here. If you are watching this video and you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. I think we just crossed the 700 mark. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to also follow our sister station, Dynasty Nerds. Everything we do here is funneled through them as well. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.